There can't be anything more rare when it comes to this football franchise than talking about the future, meaning the future beyond the season that's right in front of your face. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into hockey and or baseball. I also have two other daily shots that I do, one each on the Penguins and Pirates, and I hope you'll check those out as well. Omar Khan spoke with reporters yesterday at the NFL annual meeting in Palm Beach, Florida. Chris Halleck, our beat reporter, was there on the scene. And when the subject of all of the Steelers' comp picks that they've amassed toward next year's draft came up, this was Khan's response.
Yeah, I would say, I wouldn't necessarily, say that it's for next year. What I'll say is that, we were in a position this year, we kind of understood where our contracts were with our free agents, and that a possibility does exist, a good possibility does exist for us to, acquire comp picks. And so that's always been a part of the process this year. And, you guys are intelligent people. You guys can kind of read through it and see it. But, the fact that we've had the opportunity to acquire picks, I don't know exactly how it's going to shake out yet, but that's obviously been something we've taken into consideration.
Sounds like something to talk about, right? The Steelers, of course, have lost through free agency already this offseason both of the quarterbacks, Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, Dan Moore, and James Daniels off the offensive line. And although this isn't official yet, the projection is that the Steelers are going to get a comp pick next year. Again, I'm emphasizing that next year, not the next draft, next year. In each of the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds. That's a lot of picks. That's like a Cleveland haul of picks back when Cleveland was doing that sort of thing. And then, of course, turning it into nothing. The Steelers can take all of these picks, and you know this. You've seen the prices that have been paid to move up in the 2026 draft. When I say move up, I'm talking about move way up. Move all the way up, if necessary. And you know, and I know, why they might be interested in doing so. It's a better quarterback class next year, as I've been talking about. And obviously, with assets like these, they'll be better positioned to move up without necessarily hurting the class that they would still want to accumulate, in general. Just have a good group of new guys at multiple positions. And if you listen carefully to Khan's wording, in that he's almost in a playful kind of way admonishing everybody for not necessarily having picked up on all of this, even though at least here, we've been talking about it for a while. The comp picks are not an accident. It sounds like his plan for those comp picks also won't become an accident, but rather part of the plan. Now, I can't tell you how my heart swells when I hear anybody associated with this franchise talk about a year that isn't the one that's, looming. For what it's worth, over the remainder of Khan's session with reporters, he spoke openly about the challenges that the team has faced in trying to find the next quarterback and about his own sense of urgency to find the next quarterback. And he's not referring to Aaron Rodgers or anybody who'd serve as some sort of stopgap. He's talking about the next franchise, or at least potentially franchise quarterback, which is awesome. Awesome. Full figurative round of applause from this direction. Again, we'd known it. We'd heard about it in the background. This was now just stated right out there on the record. I will, however, repeat that my own preference for the 2025 season would be that the Steelers continue to add to their odds of finding this quarterback. That'll mean, I believe, first and foremost, making sure that you invest one draft pick into the position later this month. I know it's not the greatest class. I know that some of the quarterbacks, the ones who have the talent to become something, are projects, are going to take time, are going to take patience, are going to take possibly just some sort of from scratch construction. That's fine. Go ahead and get that. Add to the odds. I don't need to repeat for the millionth time that I'd rather see the other two slots go to Mason Rudolph and to another young quarterback that they might acquire from some other team via trade. Add to the odds. It certainly is not sounding these days, and there's been plenty of indication in the last 48 hours alone that the Rodgers thing is eventually going to get done. Notably that Rodgers and DK Metcalf hooked up for a throwing session yesterday. Okay, have it your way. If it's just Mike Tomlin's wish to have himself his big-name quarterback, then the way the Steelers hierarchy is set up, Khan kind of has to do that. I don't ever like to get into describing who answers to whom, because all they'll say is that, well, everybody answers to Art. Meaning Art Rooney, of course, not Arthur Smith. But I think it's more than plausible that Tomlin has the louder voice in this sort of stuff because he's the one that has to put the team on the field. If that happens, hey, listen, at least there's now some public indication of an actual plan to address this, not necessarily at full force, but at least with a Hail Mary of sorts in 2026. When we come back, J1Q.
This segment of Daily Shot is brought to you by our good friends at Mike's Beer Bar. They're located on Federal Street, directly across from PNC Park. Mike has more than 500 beers on tap, including from more than 50 local breweries. Stop in and say hello. Tell Mike we sent you. Mike's Beer Bar. Today's J1Q comes from Jacob. I like this. He says, morning DK, what are the biggest gaps in the offensive line outside of guys just being young? And is it possible that the Steelers can address that in free agency or even the draft? The gap, if you want to call it that, which is probably not a term that the linemen themselves would appreciate, would be that you're missing a swing tackle. Now, for all I know, Spencer Anderson can be that guy. Spence, of course, was the guy who last summer in Latrobe was asked to do all of the positions, left to right, just did everything. That's a Mike Tomlin special. He tends to identify somebody and try to put them in that role. Now, within that, from everything that I'd been told by the people who evaluate this sort of thing for a living, Spence is probably best positioned to be a guard, meaning just his framework, athleticism, everything that he's got. They see him as a guard more than he is a tackle. That's the main reason that I haven't really gotten behind Spence for this position as much as I have been really hoping that the Steelers would find a swing tackle in some form from somewhere who could legitimately press Broderick Jones. Now, that doesn't mean that you're bumping Broad at the first chance. It doesn't mean that it would be a fair fight at St. Vincent. But you'd want to have somebody there to make Broad start feeling this do-or-die urgency that I know that the Steelers are trying to attach to him. They feel he competes better in that environment. Not everybody needs it. Nobody wants it. But they want him to have it. Now, I can sit here and say to you, go get a swing tackle, except that if you look around and you look at free agency, you're not going to find them. There's a reason that the Titans paid Dan Moore 4 years and $82 million. They have the film. They're not idiots. They know that Dan is not some all-pro type player at his position. He's just not. I'm not being mean here. I really, really think the world of the kid. But he's not that. What he is a rare specimen at a position where the value has just skyrocketed because of
supply and demand, just like the real world. There are a gazillion running backs, so nobody values running backs like that. There aren't that many left tackles, or for that matter, right tackles. So they're the ones who get paid. Would I then take this into the draft, meaning this thought process? Would I say, all right, let's find you're not going to find a swing tackle necessarily. You'll find tackles who've played both sides, but that doesn't mean they're swing tackles. They might really, really stink on one of those two sides. But can you have that in the back of your mind, especially as you're getting into the later rounds? Yeah. One thing that I would not feel comfortable doing is having yet another draft where you put yet another high pick into the tackle position. Okay. Back-to-back first rounders is plenty. Try to get the most out of them before anything else that's cosmic in scope. I appreciate the question. Very good one. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. We're going to be back with another one of these tomorrow. Don't forget, at 4 p.m. Eastern Time today, there's a double shot of Steelers that comes your way via video. That's on YouTube and really pretty much on every platform in existence.